Hi, and welcome to the first episode of our brand new YouTube channel. I'm Penny, and my friend Taka is filming this. Both of us live in New York, but we realized that we haven't seen a lot of the city, a lot of places that we'd like to explore. We'd like to take a second look at some old favorites. So that's what this channel is going to be about. We hope that you'll join us for a walk around New York with friends. And today, we're going to start with a tribute to one of the most iconic places in New York, the heart of New York City, which is the mall and Bethesda fountain in the heart of Central Park. So if you enjoy this content, please give us a like, thumbs up, and if you would like to continue with us, please subscribe and help us to get this channel launched. And now let's check out Central Park. So here is an old school subway map, paper map, which you hardly even see anymore. All of this is New York City. You have the Bronx, Manhattan, Brooklyn, and Queens. Just this part is Manhattan, this island. So you see in the center, this big green rectangle, that's Central Park. So you see how central it really is and how important. It's a big part of Manhattan. So where we're going to be today is right about here. We're going to walk up the mall, and then we'll be at the Bethesda fountain. So just to give you a visual on it, especially for people who aren't that familiar with New York City, there you are. So the mall, for most people, most Americans, when they think of a mall, of course they think of a shopping mall. But a mall is really just a promenade, a place to walk. In the 19th century, when this was built, this would be a place to see and be seen. You would stroll here in your new fashionable clothing. People would be walking the other direction. Everyone would have a lovely day in the park. Now, the mall itself is based on the European idea of an allée. So that's these rows of trees. And these trees are very, very special trees. These are elms, American elms, and they're so graceful, the way the branches twist. I'm sure you've seen photographs of them. Even in the winter, they're beautiful, like curving fingers reaching up into the sky. And it's even been compared to sort of a cathedral, like a Gothic cathedral, when you have the columns and then the vaulted ceiling. So it is very beautiful. Now, every town in America used to have many, many elm trees. In fact, almost every town has an elm street. But Dutch elm disease killed off many, many of the American elms. So this is a very precious stand. It's the largest stand, this and the ones on Fifth Avenue, the largest stand of elm trees on the American continent. So they ask you not to walk near them. They don't want any disease to get to them. So they are very precious to us. As you can see, it's become sort of a mall, like a shopping mall, because vendors can bring their art pieces and their, it's sort of like a fair most days. But for me, I just love the feeling of these big old trees. Like, look at this one, how tall that is. Gorgeous old elm tree. Now, because of the Dutch elm disease, they kind of had a difficult time with these. The first planting of them, full-grown trees they used, died. And then they planted again, and the soil wasn't right for them. It was too hard, clay soil. So they died again. So these, we're going to knock on wood, to hope that they can remain healthy. These were planted in the 1920s. So these trees are 100 years old. And they seem to be thriving. This is what I love. Look at the way the branches twist and turn. Beautiful, so graceful. Hello.
Hi, how are you doing?
Hi, when it says Central Park Wood.
Everything's made with fallen twigs from trees from here. He created this full detail map about the position of each tree while in the mall.
Wow.
I have a permit to go inside the field, collect the fallen twigs, then I use the other version of the map, this one here, by sectors, e by numbers. One London plane, 2 American elm, 9 Sassosa magnolia.
Look at
Here have all
that.
these pieces. When I start shop, then I start to figure out each piece has a unique kind of shape. When you see a star in the middle of the piece, let me see another one the same.
Oh,
These ones are pieces from Cherry Blossom, page 274.
oh, so from a cherry tree. Isn't that
Each
something?
piece has a unique kind of shape. Why? In Central Park, trees came around the world. The only tree native from Manhattan Island, this park, is this kind of shape inside.
That one.
This
And what is that? What kind of tree?
Page 176 is a hickory. Let me show
Oh,
you.
hickory.
Yeah. Black Columbia forest of Manhattan.
Oh, I
here.
see.
It's the reason because have so many different kind of growth here.
I see. That's
How we did find out
fantastic. That's great. So you have a little piece of Central Park to take home with you.
Yeah.
That's very nice.
I love that's a great idea.
That is a clever idea. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
Now this is the band shell, and they do have concerts there. Yeah.
Something going on here.
Yeah, there's something coming on. Yeah, I've been here a couple of times. Well, when I lived so close, I would come here. They would do classical music, and to be on a beautiful night, to be out in Central Park listening to classical music, it was fantastic. They do a cool thing over in the road over there. I think it's on Sundays. They have music, it's like disco music, and people roller skate to the disco music. It's so cool. And some of them are so talented, like that they can go down, you know, like onto one foot and like all squat all the way down. They're amazing.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh,
they're really good. We should see that. Come and see them. Yeah. Okay, so this we're approaching. The whole point of this long alley, this promenade, is to have the anticipation building up for this focal point of the park, which of course is the Bethesda Terrace and the fountain. But before you get there are some amazing stonework. These piers, these short, thick columns, have some incredible, interesting artwork. And something that I wanted to say before I forget, I had come to Central Park many times and admired these, but I didn't know much about it until I read the book Central Park, American Masterpiece by Sarah Cedar Miller. That is a spectacular book, and if you love Central Park, you should definitely own that book. But these pieces I learned about from her book. So here we have day and night, these two pillars. So let's take a closer look at some of this fantastic stonework. So every bit of this is just beautifully done. The design work is fantastic. But then when you realize the symbolism, it gives it that extra dimension and fun. So for day, of course, what's more like day than a rooster? So here the first thing you see on the day column is the rooster. And then if we come around the side here, this is a wonderful piece of information. This faces east. So in the morning, you would have the sunlight, the sunrise comes in and illuminates this space. So as you can see, the rays of the sun, this represents sunrise, and it actually captures the sunrise. Then around this side, so here we have the rooster. And then around this side, this would be the day, your day's work. You have the farm with the cottage, and then this is the sheaves of wheat. So it's a wheat farm. And one of the things that's extra, a little extra piece of information, this park was built during the Civil War. And in the same way that cotton would represent the South, wheat, which was grown without slave labor, was representative of the North. So that would give you an extra little dimension to this farmhouse. So on this side, of course, is night. And this would be your work of the evening, because this is a very, kind of religious period of time, American Protestantism, 19th century. So here we have the Bible and the lamp. You're reading by lamplight in the evening, but this would be your spiritual work. The other one is your physical work that you do during the day, and this would be your spiritual work that you do at night. And again, the beautiful, beautiful detailing. And just like we have our rooster for our day bird, here's our night bird, the owl, with his friend the bat is just behind him. He's a beauty, this owl. Look at the detail work, the feathers, incredible, and how deep these carvings are. Now this one can be a little surprising because it's really looks like Halloween. There's a witch and there's a crescent moon. It's kind of hard to see it from here. It's all the way, it's sort of behind her, but that of course represents the night. So just like we had the sunrise on the east, this is the kind of mysterious night with a witch flying on her broom. We have a jack-o'-lantern down there. Now, there's two ways you can approach the terrace. You can go down the stairs here and through the underground arcade and directly out onto it. But a beautiful way to see it is from above. So let's walk over there and look at it. Okay. Yeah, go ahead. So all that long mall is really leading up to this payoff at the end of the mall. This beautiful terrace, Bethesda Terrace, and the center of the terrace, the Bethesda fountain. This is the glorious piece of public architecture and public statuary. And one of the exciting things about this particular fountain is that it was a woman artist who was commissioned to do this, Emma Stebbins. So that for that time period, this was unveiled in 1873. That was a very big deal. Now, the fountain itself, the terrace named Bethesda, the background to that is that in Jerusalem there's a Bethesda fountain, and the legend of that is that the angel would trouble the waters, in other words, make the waters move, and then anyone who's ill or crippled or any disease would go into the water and then be healed. So then when the Romans attacked Jerusalem, they sacked Jerusalem and stopped working. The legend there is that when the millennium, the true millennium, when God comes back to earth, happens, that then Bethesda fountain will be a healing fountain again. Now that part of the fountain and the history of the fountain I know from Tony Kushner's wonderful play, Angels in America. And that has been made, well, several years ago, it was made into a movie. So I would highly recommend that. That's another American masterpiece, Angels in America. And this fountain plays a very important role in that movie. It's very symbolic in the movie. It's in the time of AIDS and the need for healing. So this fountain is very important in that movie, in that play. So flat pieces there, those were supposed to have all carvings and things, but they kind of like, they spent a lot of money on this park, so right. You know, they kind of at some point said, that's enough. Oh, look.
Oh, wow.
Beautiful. Sorry. Wow. So beautiful. Yeah, these piers are the seasons. So beginning appropriately on the east is the spring pier. So this has, besides again this beautiful, all the beautiful stonework around it, this is the bird with the hatchling and the eggs in the nest. So of course very beautifully representative of springtime. Excuse me. And then all along here you see like springtime flowers. So you have, I think we have You have to look that up. There's like dogwood and I think trillium. There's a lot of different, I'm not very good with my horticulture, but there's many spring flowers along here. It's summer, of course. And here you have the summer with berries and butterflies, full summer. You have more berries here in the carvings. I'm gonna get rid of the, let me get rid of that. Oh, is that yours? Does this belong to somebody? Okay. I'm just gonna move it away. And here you have the bird in flight and roses, so beautiful representation of summer. Bees in the honeycomb, busy, busy summer. And here again, the abundance of the stonework. These again, the roses that we saw on the other side, more roses. More berries, I think like raspberries and strawberries. And unicorns. No, thanks. And then, I mean, you know, parts that you really hardly even look at. Look at the glorious section at the top there of how deep and elaborate the carvings are. And here we have the fall, and these are quail. So those would be certainly, you know, for hunters in the fall, they would hunt quail. And then you have the, I'm not sure what these are, but the fruits of the harvest. You know, there's wheat and fruit. I don't know if those are plums or apricot, but the fruits of their labor in the fall harvest. And along the top, look at all the apples all the way around. Now here again, the fall, you would have hunters, and this is the stag, which would be, you know, the head of a stag would be your prize from the hunter. Grapes and their beautiful leaves and tendrils. And here you'd have the goose migrating. Along with this more of the, I think those might be hops. I'm not sure, these look like grape leaves, but I think these are hops. But all again, the whole thing is that feeling of harvest time, hunters and harvest and the season closing. And then the last one is the winter pier. So here, it's nice that they continue the theme of the birds. And here the birds are on the bare branches in winter. See, the leaves are gone. There's a few things missing here. I think there's been some damage to these piers, but they've held up pretty well considering how old they are and in a public place. And then you have the pine cones, again the bare branches, some ivy. Ivy kind of lasts late into the season. And then here on the top, where you had apples or pears on the other one, you have the pine cones for the winter season. Now here we are at the fountain itself. Now, I mentioned that this was named Bethesda Fountain for the Bethesda Fountain in Jerusalem and the idea of healing. It was also to commemorate a very healing event during this period of time, cholera. There was a terrible cholera epidemic. Many people died from it because of contaminated drinking water. So they did the huge project of bringing water from Croton, upstate New York, in the very pristine countryside. They brought that pure, clean water down to the city, to the reservoir, and that made a huge difference. So this is also commemorating that blessing of the fresh water. So the angel is holding a lily in one hand, which is a symbol of purity. So we're talking about pure water. And then her hand is outstretched in a sort of benediction or blessing. Below her, around the pedestal, are 4 cherubs, and those 4 figures represent temperance, health, purity, and peace. Peace because of, the Civil War was going on at this time, so they were very concerned with those ideas. It's probably one of the most photographed, I think after like the Trevi Fountain in Rome, one of the most photographed fountains in the world.